You know, it's quite amazing how unclear the marketing has been around 4K gaming, a technology which is all about clarity and detail. Seriously, if you felt even a little bit confused about how powerful the Xbox One Scorpio and PS4 Pro actually are, then don't worry, it's not your fault. You're not an idiot. One of the executives over at Microsoft has actually admitted that tech companies need to fudge things a little bit if they are to stand any chance of selling 4K to consumers. Microsoft executive Albert Penello told the Major Nelson podcast recently, showing people what 4K and HDR looks like is really hard when you're not watching the thing in 4K or in HDR. How do we market that and be honest? You have to fudge things a little bit to show the differences, but you want to do it in a way that's honest. Sony are guilty of one thing when it comes to this, selling upscaled 4K gaming as just 4K gaming with a little asterisk at the end. Barely any games run at native 4K on the PS4 Pro, and the ones that do actually take a big hit in performance with struggling frame rates. PS4 Pro's 4K capabilities are pretty much common knowledge to us who follow the industry closely, but what about everyone else? Sony Interactive Entertainment President Andrew House told Digital Spy recently, "I would say the majority of games will be upscaled, at least based on the game portfolio I have seen to date." When asked if he thought that was misleading, he replied, "No, I don't think it's misleading. I think that whatever the term is, it's a question of whether people see a demonstrable difference in the game experience or not, rather than the term we use to apply to it." Yeah, but you're kind of selling this thing on its 4K capabilities. Saying the terms we use to describe things isn't important is just a bit ridiculous. Native 4K is a 4K image for a 4K screen, whereas upscaled 4K is a 1080p image which has been rendered as a 4K image. There is a significant difference. So when you look at this, there is a definite lack of clarity from Sony. They are fudging it, as Penello indicated. So what about Microsoft? Well, Microsoft have been very clear when it comes to the Xbox One S, the slimmed down Xbox One. It's got a boosted CPU and GPU, and it upscales 1080p games for 4K screens, and is capable of HDR. But the Scorpio, however, is a little bit less straightforward. We all know that the Scorpio is going to be more powerful than the PS4 Pro, and it's going to be capable of native 4K gaming, right? Well, what I'm about to tell you might surprise you. So yeah, it seems Microsoft have been fudging the details over their 4K console as well, just as Penello said. For a long time, Microsoft stuck to saying true 4K technology when talking about the Scorpio, rather than the actual box-ticking, 100% confirmed it's there, native 4K. Then, in September of this year, Microsoft's Shannon Lofty told USA Today, "Any games we're making that we're launching in the Scorpio timeframe, we're making sure they can natively render at 4K. Any games we're making." Just underline that. It's an oddly specific way to phrase an answer. Surely if the Scorpio was capable of running all games at 4K, you'd want to make that loud and clear, right? I mean, you'd want everyone to know. Xbox boss Phil Spencer confirmed at E3 this year that the Scorpio may not in fact be able to run all Xbox One games in even 1080p 60 FPS. Just newer games and the older ones with dynamic resolution. Then Albert Penello told Eurogamer the developers will not be required to render games at 4K, but can choose 1080p 60 FPS, native 4K 30 FPS, or upscaled 4K. I mean, the messaging is just all over the place, and this is kind of what Penello was alluding to when he said you've got to fudge it. A few white lies and some withholding of the truth from both Sony and Microsoft could confuse the crap out of any consumer that looks into this stuff before making a purchase decision. Which is best? Should I wait for the Scorpio, or is the Pro good enough? Is there any real difference between upscaled and native? Well, the answer from both Sony and Microsoft has just been... If both companies are fudging the details, both can keep getting away with it. Neither needs to break silence and come clean, while their competitor is being just as hazy on the details as they are. We know that the Scorpio is more powerful than the Pro at this point. I mean, it's information, it's fact. But the question is, how much more powerful is it in real-world performance terms? how's it going to affect the games? Well, Microsoft are still trying to weigh that up if you ask me, and Sony are just waiting to see what happens. In other news this week, microtransactions have been added into Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered in the form of supply drops. They were already in Infinite Warfare and also featured in Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3. Supply drops can be earned using depot credits earned in-game or COD points, which are paid for using real cash. COD points, fuck me. Call of Duty has previously attracted negative press for its supply drop system, which can provide players with better weapons, which can only be achieved through supply drops, leading to accusations of pay-to-win elements being put in the game. It's been quite a rough year for Call of Duty between airing the most disliked YouTube video of all time with its first trailer, a massive drop in sales year on year, and now it's also been confirmed this week that physical sales are down 48% in the US, seeing a similar decline as it did here in the UK. The game's not done badly in the charts at all, debuting at number 1 in the November digital charts and regaining the top spot of the physical chart this week. But the game is currently on a 5-day free trial here in the UK until December the 20th, which is a very generous offer, especially considering it only came out last month. The game's price has already been slashed to about 25 quid here in the UK as well, which is pretty much unheard of for the series this soon after launch. Also this week, remember those massive space battles we were promised for No Man's Sky? Well, they were added into the game with the Foundation Update 1.1, but now Hello Games have released yet another patch that will offer larger space battles and more variety generally in the size of these battles. Patch 1.13 adds a handful of other minor features and bug fixes as well, including a fix to an instant death that could occur in survival mode if you saved with 1 health and had no hazard protection. It's good to see Hello Games still working hard on this game. One day we're sure it'll be worth going back to. And in other news, the makers of Pokemon Sun and Moon set a worldwide challenge for its players to catch 100 million Pokemon globally over the course of a few weeks as part of the game's Festival Plaza mode. But the thing absolutely flopped. All of the Pokemon players all over the world only managed to catch 16.5 million Pokemon. Hilariously, the English Pokemon blog said the goal was just missed before the Japanese edition gave the precise figure of just 16.5 million. Ouch. And lastly this week, reports have emerged that the Nintendo Switch will be less powerful than the now 3-year-old PlayStation 4. VentureBeat says that 2 sources have confirmed the Switch will be built using NVIDIA's last generation Maxwell architecture and not its new Pascal architecture. That makes the Switch basically a custom version of the NVIDIA Shield. The Switch will have just over half of the processing power found in the regular PS4. If you want the full breakdown of this report, head over to VentureBeat. There will be a link in the description of this video. This is the Saturday show, so let's take a look at the comments you've been leaving on our videos this week. Sean Holt comments on last week's Saturday show, "I find most games are not worth buying these days." That might mean you don't like gaming anymore, dude. Heather Holt comments on the same video, "Fuck you, Konami. Whoops, I mean Capcom." Hey. Fuck them both. Everlasting Calmness comments, "I absolutely love the feeling I get from your videos. I actually feel like all the minutes are worth something and I don't feel like you're repeating yourself, which is fantastic. Keep this incredible content coming." Yeah, I just can't think of a response. Mercenary 1914 comments on the Xbox One backwards compatibility video. "Here is the thing I love about competition. It makes all those competing step their game up. I absolutely refuse to switch to Xbox, but I hope Xbox does very well with the backwards compatibility, forcing PlayStation's hand to do the same thing." Yeah, that's spot on, dude. That's pretty much what I was trying to get across in the video. Competition is a good thing. I have no loyalty to either of them. I really don't give a shit which one does the best. I will just buy the one that I prefer and live with it. Xbox is only pushing so hard now because Sony pushed it hard with its kind of delivery of its PlayStation 4 as being for the gamers. Hopefully this will push PlayStation to push as well. You know what I mean? J Prakash Dwibedi comments. Yeah, I didn't say that right. I'm bailing out on your name, dude. I'm going to call you Jay. Jay comments, "Hey Mike, where is Gareth? I miss his goatee." Yeah, this is pretty much for everyone who's been talking about how much they miss Gareth's goatee. He'll be back next week. He's off on holiday. He's just been away this week. That's why we've had 3 mic specials. I hate them as much as you do. Don't worry, he'll be back next week. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Where do you stand on the whole 4K thing? Let us know down in the comments. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.